popcorn, correct? Yeah. We also established the Lincoln Room. Well, tonight I was thinking about what could I bring, because I'm going to be talking about medicine in the Civil War. And I thought, well, hardtack, that would be a possibility. And I thought, no, you don't want to deal with the weevils. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring people to assist. And so I have three delightful individuals that are going to help with the presentation tonight. First of all, this is Mr. Randy Grove. He has many talents. He's a musician, and so we're going to hear taps, because when I first developed the presentation, I thought, well, I could just do an MP3 file or something. The presentation is actually in three parts. The first is reflection, and so after that, we're going to have the taps, and so Randy's going to come back on. He's also a weapons instructor, and so for all of those guys that really are into ammunition, he is your guy. And he brought some mini balls and some cannonballs that he's going to be handing out. And he's also a Civil War buff. Surprise. So, great combination. And we also have Cammie McCaffrey. She is our senior in our Human Performance Department, or Human Performance. She's getting her major in that. I'm from the Health and Human Performance Department. We also have another individual from our Human Performance option, but he's a graduate student. And he's in athletic training, and he's also done 2 tours. And it was really interesting for tonight. I asked both of them to wear the uniforms. And Josh sent me a note. I'm really sorry, but I cannot wear my uniform. My hair is too long. So he will tell you about all of those types of things later on. He's going to be talking about the battle strategies. And so with that, we welcome you. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we hope you do as well. And so we'll go ahead and start. People to your battle stations. Now, when we get started, I want to apologize right away. Is anybody taking public speaking? Okay. Do you ever do this? No. Well, guess who's going to do that tonight? And the reason being, I have 2 screens, and so I'm going to use the laser, basically, so we don't get lost. How does that sound? So if I turn my back to you, it's not out of disrespect. My public speaking teacher may flunk me, but it's simply to help facilitate. So, lights. And put it into the slide. Okay, advance it. We'll get started. There we go. This is to get us into the mood. Again, there's going to be 3 sections. The first part will be reflection. So we're going to reflect back on the Civil War. The second part will be respect. We'll be talking about all of those medical heroes. And then finally, we're going to talk about revolutionary. And I'll save that for the 3rd section. going to do in this first part is really reflect on the war. In developing a presentation, I thought, in talking about medicine, we first have to talk about the casualties and understand why there were so many casualties. And so that's what we're going to do with this section. And I want to make it clear, I'm not a historian. I'm a dietitian. But after doing this presentation, I have so much respect for historians. How many students are out there are history majors? I salute you. Because to do this type of research, you can't talk to dead people. There's so many reports that you go through, and then you try to figure out what is true. And so I really admire now historians. But what we have up here is basically a couple different versions. And all I want to point out is the number of casualties that there was in this war. And this one, as you can see, as compared to other wars, was the greatest amount of people dying. And what we have here are simply different battles. Here we have Second Bull Run, 25,000 and more casualties. Can you imagine 25,000 people dying? And so I want that to really resonate, is the amount of people that we lost during that time. And you can see others, 25,000, 30,000, 34,000, 27,000. Gettysburg, more than 50,000 casualties. That is a lot of people. For this slide, I wanted to note the area by which these battles were taking place. And this will resonate when we get to talking about how do we take care of all of those soldiers over that great distance. This slide really separates it out. And you probably have heard before that with disease, that was a problem. And so we're going to dig a little bit deeper. Why did that occur? Why were they dying of disease? And you can see on the Union troops, the Confederate troops, we have wounded, then we have died of the wounds, and then we also have died of disease. Look at that. It doesn't take a math major to figure that one out. That the disease really took its toll with this group. Now, to really get to that point, what we're going to do is follow one soldier. The impact of if you lost one soldier. Now, this soldier is Edward Ayers. He's a corporal. He was in the 1st Regiment of Missouri. He was a volunteer. I want you to note something. What's today? Tomorrow would be his birthday, right? Okay. He came from England, and he died. I also want you to note that date as well. November 25th, 1919. So class, those are 2 dates that I want you to remember. There's going to be a quiz at the end of this little session. They don't believe me. I don't understand. That's in my class. They don't understand. They said, quiz? Why should we have a quiz? Okay, so let's follow him to see where he went and what happened to him. Well, first of all, this was a very memorable day for him because he was the Battle of Little Sugar Creek. And there was 13 wounded. Well, he was one of them. It was the first battle that was fought in Arkansas. And this is a quote. The leading battalion was the 1st Missouri Cavalry led by Major James Hubbard, which advanced at a dead run, if you can imagine that. Later on, we're going to see some dead runs in some video, so you can start to get a feel of what he was going through. Now, at the same time, let's look at this slide. During the battle, he got wounded. And it hit right across the bridge of his nose. Now, in reading the diary of him, the wound never healed. When something never heals, that means there's probably an infection that will never be cured. And so just thinking about that, if you were wounded and you did live, did that stay with you the rest of your life? And what this is just a map in all of the skirmishes. Now that preceded basically the Battle of Key Ridge. This was a whole campaign. Now the next two slides, I'm going to show you, I really got into maps. It was really interesting. And I don't even read maps, so, you know, I learned a lot from this. Okay, we have March 7th and we have March 8th. Let's go find this person. Well, right down here, well, first of all, let's look at the legend. That dark blue, that's the first phase. The white is the intermediate, and then the light blue is the second phase. Now, we don't know where he was at, except for his unit. Here's the first. Here's the first. But look at this up here. Could have been right at the front in the first phase. So I want you to get that sense of what he went through. And then this one was basically the next day. I could not find the first on this one. And so I don't know if they were taking a rest or whatever. But if he was wounded, he probably was. Well, he was wounded, but he didn't survive. He went on to marry, and he married Maria Loisa Macy, and then of course Eric. And so, and there he is right there. You can't really see, because I really tried to blow it up to see where that wound was. But he obviously did pretty good, at least at that age. Now, what I wanted to do is illustrate if this person had been killed. Let's look at it. They had children, obviously. Fred, Albert, Abigail, Archie, Frank, Roland, and Cora. I did find it was really interesting. I sometimes get off the track, so you have to watch me. But I found a little entry. It said, Cora killed Jack. And I thought, oh my gosh, who's Jack? Well, then later on, I found that he killed 7 Jacks. So what do you think it was? Jack Rabbit. So Cora didn't kill Jack, it was just a Jack Rabbit. But anyway, okay, back to the story. All right, so they had 7 children. Now, in the records that I've had, what I could find, these were incomplete. That's that INC, that's incomplete. So I could only go a couple generations right there. So all of those were incomplete. However, Abigail were complete. And so I could at least follow for that many generations. So let's add it all up. And again, you don't have to be a math major, but you can check my math if you'd like. What I added up is for the descendants of this couple, it was more than 120. Simply because we have incomplete records, right?